Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Midnight Festival podcast, a late-night talk show focused around the discussion and analysis of video games. I'm the initial host of 3 total, Jade.
I'm Kaiwa, the second of 3 hosts.
And I'm Cole, presumably the third of 3 hosts.
We have a different episode planned tonight. It's almost a little bit of it's a break from our typical long-form analysis, our 3-hour-long episode chunks, analyzing and discussing a specific game. Tonight we're going with a little bit of a different episode format. It's not going to be a long-form analysis of a game. It's going to be more of a casual fireside chat. And the subject of our discussion tonight is going to be Dark Souls 2, which, as a lot of people know, is almost, a Dark Soul. Everyone knows Dark Souls. Everyone knows Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
But Dark Souls 2 is almost known as the black sheep of the series, I think, almost overwhelmingly so. But we all recently played it. We all had a good time, and we decided, why not just talk about it? Usually we take a lot of extensive notes for our conversations, but this time we all kind of went in, didn't take a lot of notes. We were just playing for fun. And we're just going to talk about our observations and our opinions on the game and how it builds upon the first game and the differences, maybe why it's the black sheep.
Yeah, I played a little bit of a background too for me. I played the game right when it came out, when Scholar of the First Sin came out. I was playing it, so it was interesting for me now to come back and revisit it. So,
oh yeah, okay. So you'll have a little bit of a different opinion too, or like different observations as well. Before we get into the thick of it, though, I feel like I'm obligated to preface by saying, Dark Souls, the fan base is it's very passionate. It's a very passionate fan base, and us 3, we're not avid, zealous fans. I'm not on the wikis looking at stuff, and I'm not, I don't look, when I play these games, I don't look anything up. And I think, you guys are the same way.
I'm the same way, and I think also you and I don't play with online mode on.
Yeah, we play
That's probably
offline.
a controversial hot take, but that's just how we prefer to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm an online boy. I like to play online. I like to be invaded. Sometimes I'll even invade. But mostly I really love getting help from the bosses.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's all just to say, essentially, all these opinions, all these observations are our own. We might be misinformed, or maybe not as educated as some other potential fans might be. I think that our things are legitimate to us. It's just our opinions. But nothing that we say is supposed to be taken as fact, so I know I'm just trying to cover all the bases here.
Yeah, I just don't want any death threats when I get like a stat wrong or something.
Yeah, none of that, please. We're all good boys. We all just play. We love the game. We all love the series. It's not a bad game.
Love the game.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, though, I figure a good conversation starter. That, with all that aside, sweep that under the rug. That just needed to be said first, but now I'm sweeping it under the rug. And now I want to kind of start off asking the question, why do you think this game is the black sheep? Maybe other than the fact that it's not directed by Miyazaki or whatever the guy's name is. Maybe I should look at the director's name. Dark Souls director. Yeah, it is. Okay.
That speaks
it is
volumes
Miyazaki.
about our level of...
Hayao Miyazaki.
No, it's Hidetaka Miyazaki. Why do you think...
Hayao Miyazaki.
Why do you think that this game is the black sheep, other than that it's not directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki?
Well, I don't know. I guess it feels a little bit different than the normal style of games, and it feels like the map's also a little bit different and more convoluted almost. Because I know it's kind of bad to judge, I guess, but you have to compare it to the other games. And like in Dark Souls 3, the map it's kind of like a spider web. It just kind of goes everywhere. And there's like strong connections between like areas, like I don't know, compared to Dark Souls 2 where it seems like you just have to go either in one direction or another and there's not much overlap.
Dark Souls 2 feels like the map feels kind of like a hand,
Oh yeah.
right? Where
Yep, I'm getting
yeah.
I
you're
get what
walking down
putting
you're walking
down.
down the fingers. You're walking down those little fingers, and sometimes
Yeah.
there's little loops that maybe that's your fingernails, like you're clipping your fingernails, and you have a hangnail that connects to your other finger.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys,
It's a really interesting and specific way of putting
Yeah,
it.
medulla is your palm, and then all your little fingers are like the tower and all that stuff. The forest of giants is probably your thumb,
Yes.
etc.
And then the DLC is your left hand.
The yep. The DLC
Okay.
is your left three fingers from your left hand.
And that's why it feels
Yeah.
different. It's because it's your hand.
Yeah, so that's basic. I think we hit all the main ideas.
And that's all right. Thanks very much for listening to the Midnight
And
Festival.
that's why it's the black sheep.
Yeah, that's why it's the black sheep. No, yeah, I think the world. Everyone talks about the world building and the level design of Dark Souls because, the initial area of the original Dark Souls it's so vertically stacked and everything is built on top of each other, and there's so many loops. And you do that thing where you leave an area and you come back 5 hours later and you see it from a whole different, like you come out on the other side of this area that you've been. There was like
Yeah, it
Yep.
just clicks.
like all that stuff in Dark Souls. Like it didn't really happen much in Dark Souls 2. And I think it's part of the hand design.
I think you would leave Majula and you wouldn't come back unless it was by a bonfire. There was nothing that would naturally just bring you there. It was very linear in that way.
And is it just me, but is the combat more mechanical than in the other Dark Souls? Like in Dark Souls 3, everything seems so super fluid, and that might just be because it's the most recent game of the series.
Yeah.
But in Dark Souls 2, it seems like the attack animations just like hard line you in to this like some really long combo. And the way that they queue actions up sometimes, like even when you're not pressing the controller, your character could be rolling around for all you know.
Yeah. Obviously, when it comes to Dark Souls 3, like I don't know if we can really compare those two because even Dark Souls 3 like took notes from Bloodborne, which is like fucking awesome combat, like so
Yeah.
fast, and so it like increased the speed of Dark Souls combat in general, I think. But like but even compared to Dark Souls 1, I think that there's some weird issues with Dark Souls 2 that I never noticed in 1. And maybe Cole, you'll have to back me up on some of these because I wasn't always in melee range and when I first played Dark Souls 1. But what the fuck is up with that like hit tracking? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
That wasn't in the
yeah.
first game that much, right? Because it
It
seemed
felt
like guys
for sure
snapped to you.
it was exacerbated on a lot of enemies. It felt like I noticed it too. Sometimes a guy would leap in midair and you'd roll 90 degrees to their side, and at the last second they would just flip right over to you.
Yeah.
It was very sudden. The combat, then the world design, everything feels different in a lot of ways, right? Didn't you say something at the beginning of the game? Even the movement didn't feel the same.
I
to
remember
you?
I got a mod so I could map like the dead zone of the controller so it felt a little slower. But that was just after playing Dark Souls 1. So then, I played it for a little bit, and then I took like a year. I didn't play it for like a year, and then I came back, and I didn't have any issue acclimating to the controls. So I think if it was just coming off of Dark Souls 1, I was like, what the fuck? This feels weird. Feels strange.
It definitely felt different, I thought, too. I thought it was a little floatier, the way your character handled, and I can't say much about the tracking. I played in melee range in the first game, and then as a sorcerer in this game.
Yeah, okay.
Kind
We
of.
flopped.
So
we flipped and flopped.
yeah, we did a flip flop. There was. It felt different, and it's hard to describe why, because there's a lot going on under the hood, and not all of it I could even understand. But, one thing I think we would all agree on is, they changed things like the rolling mechanics, encumbrance, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that contributes for sure.
I want to say right off the bat, like Dark Souls 2, it being the black sheep of the Dark Souls series, it's still a fucking good, it's a good game. It's a great game. It's good. But
yeah, by the end I had fun, I would say.
Yeah,
I
still
have
good.
a lot of fun with especially one weapon from the game called Santier's Spear, and I'm always just going on about this weapon, and it's just so good. Durability is really kind of an issue in this game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes,
so like this is the one weapon that you can just bash around and it'll never break on you. There's infinite durability, and it's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that's the only non-durability item in all of Dark Souls. So
it's possible, yeah. I think durability usually is kind of an unnecessary mechanic.
Right.
It's just in Dark Souls 2, every time I would just toss a repair powder. It was never actually an issue. It was just upkeep that was just frustrating. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I can see why you'd want something that negated the need to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, just the moveset. And back when I had first played the game, the mundane build was like the strongest thing ever. And when I did it again this time around, it must have been nerfed to some extent, because the mundane build was just like not doing the same damage that it used to. So they've definitely tried to balance out certain stuff from the game, I think, since when it first came out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I wonder about that. I felt really, really weak the whole game. And then, I didn't play sorcery in the first game, but I saw how strong it was, so it seems pretty clear. They changed something from the first game to the second game. Well, they changed a lot, but then also maybe they did a lot of balancing, since I played the original version of the game, and then this time we all played Scholar.
yeah.
Scholar of the First Sin, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and just
there could have been some differences.
yeah, like I played with no range whatsoever. Like, just didn't have it. So all the enemies I had to sort out melee, and that was definitely difficult. Like, there were just certain enemies where you obviously, and that's pretty much the same thing for all Souls games, you want to have just some sort of blend that you can just help clear an area. Otherwise, there's just going to be a mess waiting for you in there. And some of the areas in Dark Souls 2 have just been like, they're just so intimidating. Like, you just stand over like this area and you look at that, you have to walk through this pit of poison to just continue. It just makes you want to turn right around.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Too much poison. Too much poison in that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of poison everywhere.
And then
Wow.
like durability damaging like bugs and like pots that'll just give you a curse and waste one of your effigies.
Yeah, they built the whole, like, every environment was there just to piss you off.
Yeah,
it seemed.
that was gonna be another one of my complaints, actually, about why it could be the Dark Souls black sheep.
Yeah, a lot of it doesn't affect the enemy. I think it always seemed, at least in Dark Souls 1, my perspective is it felt like everything was fair, except the bosses. It was an uphill battle, but everything else would usually feel like a 1v1, where it was sort of an even field for you and your enemy. And then in this, most of the time it didn't feel like that. It felt like they specifically positioned every enemy, groups of them, hordes of them, to have an advantage of you over you, and then also the environment.
Yeah,
and then they'd also drop the pursuer into the room with you.
yeah, sometimes he
And then more.
yeah.
That honestly, that was kind of one of my favorite things about this game, is that you just had this one guy chasing you throughout the whole game for no reason. Maybe there is a reason deep in the lore.
Yeah,
There's a lot of guys
weapons.
chasing you.
Got to read his weapons. No, but yeah, that was one of my big. Yeah, I felt like that instantly in the Forest of Giants when you get to that cave or the castle area and
Yep.
there's like those black barrels all over the place, and like that explode random, like they just explode all the time. And
Yeah.
it's like they have guys perched in these precarious spots, lobbing bombs from like so fucking far away. There's no way to deal with them at the beginning. It's really, I mean, you probably use a bow, I guess, but unless you're statted to
Like
use a
for an
bow.
average, never in an optimal. There's always an optimal way, but for an average person like us three,
Yeah. Yeah, it just felt like sometimes stuff was pitted stacked against you. And that was another thing, was that even just, the enemy types and the environmental hazards and stuff, but
Yep.
like the design of the world, like the aesthetics, the areas, the beauty of the world was kind of not there for the most part. It just seemed a little more generic, I guess. There were a couple areas that I really loved in Dark Souls 2, that were like, I felt like in Dark Souls 1 there was a couple moments when I went into an area and I just like had that moment where I was like, whoa, like just took a moment and looked around. I
yeah.
think I could count. I think I did that maybe 2 times in Dark Souls 2. And I think it was when you get to the shrine of Amala or whatever. Was that what it is? Amana?
I think it's Amana.
The shrine of
Oh,
Amana.
yeah.
And you hear the singing, and you're just overlooking this expanse of water. That was a really nice moment. And those little blue lights, little blue flowers all over the place. It just felt like that was lacking a lot too. It wasn't a lot of vistas that I was like, oh, this is sick.
A lot of the environment seemed pretty run down.
Yeah, I like Drangleic. Like I think it's cool. I think it's all right, but it just didn't have that flair.
True.
And it just made exploring just all the more like, ugh, you know.
Yep. And most of the stuff you have to go through is just poisonous pits and caves, and there's gas and just
And
all sorts of
guys
nasty
hiding.
stuff.
Guys
Yep.
hiding to jump, like after you walk by, to like come from behind you and fuck you up.
Big areas that are so easy to get pushed off of.
Yeah.
Go instantly falling to your death, falling through floors into pits of lizards with petrifying gas.
Falling through floors. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Like all that stuff. I don't know. It just felt. Something that I think is interesting is the game's focus on. It feels like it's more focused on being hard.
Yes.
Is that just me?
Yes. No, I think you're onto something there.
I have this theory. All right. I have this theory that the second game was built. I mean, maybe it's even confirmed, but the second game was built off of the success of the first game. Like, everyone loved Dark Souls so much. Okay, Demon's Souls is technically the first one. Okay, right.
True.
But everyone loved Dark Souls, and everyone, people were wondering why. Is it just because it's so hard? Is that it? Did people like to die? Did, like, the tagline was "Prepare to Die" on the back of the box or whatever? And then it was just like, maybe the guys were like, okay, everyone really likes this super, just uphill battle, this uphill sludge, trudging through sludge. And then they built the game like off of that, it felt like. And then right away, I have huge qualms with the stupid fucking cutscene in the beginning when the old ladies are laughing at you. I hate that. And they're like, "You'll lose your souls again and again." Like, there's no, they're like talking such shit. There's no, like, the game is like laughing at you like they know you're gonna die, and they know, like, they think that that's what people want, is that, like, masochistic.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
want to be punished or something. And then I was thinking about, when you first get into the game, you go through that little tutorial thing, and you go out and you see Majula for the first time, and you get that, the cool song playing, the really good song, which, by the way,
Yeah.
I think Majula might be one of my favorite hubs
Oh,
in
right.
in Dark Souls series. Not Bloodborne or Sekiro. I think I like those more, but in Dark Souls, I think Majula might be my favorite zone.
Majula, that place has some really good memories assorted with it. Just going there and just like chilling after a hard boss battle. Like some are really hard boss battles too.
Mm-hmm.
And then just hearing that nice Majula music.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you were standing on this hill overlooking the Majula and you see this big tower. Like, that big tower on the seaside? That big obelisk?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I was like drawn to that right away. I ran up there and checked out what it was. And all it is an advertisement for how many players have died. Like the game is like that's the first thing that people run up and check out, I'm sure. That was the first thing I ran out and checked out.
Yeah, and I believe the herald tells you, oh, the crestfallen warrior's up there. Go talk to him. He might tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So they kind of tell you to go there too.
And then you check out this thing and it's like, hey, all these players have died worldwide. Look how fucking hard our game is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's just that to me is
rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking it's the black sheep, because it doesn't have this really mysterious sort of vibe that Dark Souls, the OG Dark Souls, had.
Yeah, I guess it's probably like the conditions that the game was made under, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Where like they
sequelitis?
were like they didn't have their sequelitis. They didn't have their main director. Mm-hmm. They wanted the people wanted another hard game because Dark Souls was going viral for just being this ultra hard like gaming experience. And then they're like, we gotta pump this out. We gotta get some content to the hungry fans. And that's what they came up with. That's why you have guys just literally waiting around corners just for you to come by and then kamikaze jump onto you.
Yeah, and I mean, not to say that stuff didn't exist in the original Dark Souls 2. In the original Dark Souls, TOO.
Yeah.
Not the original Dark Souls 2 as in not the Scholar of the First Sin, but the original Dark Souls. Okay, from here on,
important distinction.
We're talking about Scholar of the First Sin. We're not talking about Dark Souls 2. But in the original Dark Souls, that stuff happens. That stuff still happens, but it always felt like you had more of a fighting chance because you were against usually you were against like a small group of guys at most, like 2 or 3 guys. Or just one guy in Dark Souls, Like, it didn't feel like you were always getting accosted by, like, 5 fucking guys all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, 2 big, huge dudes that you can't stagger. And that's another thing.
Or maybe only guarding, like, a crazy boss fight at, like, some final area. Then they might throw, like, a huge number of enemies at you or something. But, like, in Dark Souls 2... all the time. You can expect to just fight groups of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You better have some sort of AoE.
That's actually another one of my theories I wanted to discuss about the boss fights in this game, because it felt like there's so many boss fights with multiple enemies in it.
Yeah.
Especially compared to one, and that got me thinking. Why? And I think it's because if you think about Dark Souls 1. What's the boss fight that you think of as one of the harder boss fights?
A harder boss fight, huh?
Taurus Demon.
Taurus Demon. I guess I think Capra Demon is kind of a bullshit fight in the first game.
Yeah, Capra Demon.
Bed of Chaos is the ultimate worst boss.
Yep. How about Ornstein? Ornstein and Smaug?
Ornstein and Smough. Yeah.
Smough. Like,
I don't know. They don't say it out loud, I don't
Ornstein
think.
and Smough. I think that to me, when I think of Dark Souls, I feel like that is sort of the humbling fight for a Dark Souls player.
Yeah, okay. When you bring it up, it seems obvious.
And I feel like they took that, they go, ooh, this is like our penalty. This is like the fight that everyone knows in Dark Souls. Let's like, what's so different about that? Oh, there's just 2 guys. And then they go, here's fights where there's a bunch of guys. It feels, and none of them are as like well designed as that one though, is the thing.
And that one even wasn't, I don't think, very well designed, but it was a pivotal moment in the game.
It had cool,
and one of the hardest challenges, so people remember it.
A big filter to entry.
Pleb filter.
Yeah.
Yup.
Pleb filter.
No.
Pleb filter.
But
lightning armor check.
Yeah, so I feel like that maybe influenced some of their design decisions because it feels like there's a lot of fights in Dark Souls 2 with multiple enemies in it. Like the Sentinel
Yeah.
Knights, right? Was that what they're called in the
Yeah, there's the 3 ruined sentinels.
Ruin Sentinels? And then there's that one. Ooh, do we count DLC fights?
Um,
I don't know.
Only if you're gonna also count Artorias of the Abyss from the first game to compare,
Yeah, I guess.
which also wasn't very. It was just one DLC.
Yeah. And then there were the two guarding the tome. There were those two guys guarding the tome. There were or the tomb.
The deacons. The deacons was not
Deacons.
really. Or no, that's the third
That's
game.
the
I
third
think.
game. Yeah, yeah. The skeleton lords.
Yep. There was something very similar to the Deacons though, like almost the
Yeah,
exact same.
I can't remember
enemy.
the name. I think it was Prowling Magus or something.
Yeah.
Something
before
congregation.
in
The crawling
Brightstone
congregation. Oh, it was the crawling
Congregation.
Yeah,
congregation.
yeah.
Either way, there's a lot of an overwhelming amount of group fights, even in the boss.
And don't even give me
Arenas.
fucking.
Oh.
Is this event cast?
Royal Rat Authority.
Oh
Fuck
my
that.
god.
That's the stupidest. I hate that, man. God. Yeah. No, there was just like, it didn't feel. I kept wanting those cool one-on-one fights. I kept wanting those cool. This is kind of why I had no qualms this time about summoning. Summoning.
There's a lot more
phantoms.
summoning signs too, even compared to the base Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
I believe. I don't remember there being so many NPC phantoms around.
Yeah, they definitely put like a bunch of little extra NPCs with the smaller summon signs that only stay for a couple minutes or 20 minutes or so and then
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like maybe it took those notes from Dark Souls 1 and just, thought that that's how you make a difficult game, is to just kind of add more enemies. So maybe that's why it's the black sheep. But I feel like we touched on this earlier a little bit, but like this game still does have a pretty big fan base. A lot of people enjoy this game as their favorite Dark Souls game.
Yeah.
I could understand why it's the black sheep for sure.
It's got a lot of weird decisions. I think the difficulty curve, especially at the start, it's mostly front-loaded, which is weird. I think they changed how Estus works. So, before it was kind of a way to check how many mistakes you could make, and you'd have to do sort of a decision in your head. Oh, do I want to press on, or do I want to go back and heal, get more Estus? Do I want to empower my fire to get even more mistakes, but a limited resource at the moment that I could use elsewhere in the game for a harder moment?
Yeah.
It was all this interesting stuff you had to work through in your head to balance the game around you and your skill set in the first game. And then in Dark Souls 2, it's a really linear, you just have to collect more shards and more bone dust to get more healing. So it's extremely hard at the start with less healing, less armor, less options.
Not to mention that they have the stones. You just pop those little stones.
And life stones.
Yeah.
All this weird stuff that I don't know. I really don't like the life stones at all. It's a weird contrast to grass and Demon Souls. I don't know if you guys have any experience with that, but
Not yet.
that's a weird band-aid solution to Estus, I think.
Yeah, and I guess with all those weird little items like the Ferris Lockstones and the Branches of Yore and like keys to areas and stuff, like it really, the first time I played it, it felt like it made it feel like the game was super full, like it had all these little secrets and crazy things you had to grind for to just unlock. But the second time, now that I'm coming back and playing it again, a lot of those like Pharaoh's Lockstone things just lead to nothing. So it like at a first glance, it totally convinced me that it was a very full and like awesome area to explore. But then in reality, there was just nothing behind them, like these traps. Like, and the game just wanted you to, like that, to factoring that into the difficulty thing. They just wanted you to make more mistakes, and they would literally just bait you to open up a wall or something that would reveal only an enemy.
A lot of kind of a massive cluttered inventory filled with keys and shit. The lockstones seemed just like a worse branch of yore, where it was like, oh, do I want to spend this resource I have to maybe get something cool out of it? Except that you couldn't quite with a branch, you could maybe see what's on the other side, but with the lockstone, you're kind of taking a guess based on your environment, and then the majority of them in the game are traps or nothing. And that I don't know, they filled the game with a lot more secrets than Dark Souls 1, but they feel way less rewarding because half of them just screw with you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what kind of strategies did you guys use to bust through the hordes of enemies that this game would throw at you?
I built a full strength build this time around. And it was it was really rewarding. It was really fun. I had a really good time cleaving. I had 2 fucking huge swords, and I was just cutting everyone in half.
Smashing them, pulverizing them into the ground.
Actually not cutting them, but just just smashing them with these just 2 dull looking swords. Like, it just looked like it would just break people in half.
Power stancing was cool, and I never knew about that until this time playing through the game. So that was interesting to see.
Yeah, power stancing. Yeah, I was having a good time with that, and I don't think I would have figured it out if it weren't for someone telling me about it.
Yep,
Because there's no way to learn.
Yeah, only a few weapons have those too, so it's like even rarer that you would even try that sort of combination that would let you even power stance something. But some very excellent weapons can be power stance, like those bone fists.
Oh yeah, those looked cool.
Like those things just turn you into an absolute kung fu warrior, and it deals so much damage, even just level 1. But they do break really fast, so it's like durability again is another issue. And I don't know if there's any ways to artificially extend the durability of certain items, but yeah,
there's a ring, there's a sorcery, and then I guess just repair powder is the ways around them.
I suppose, yeah. But
it's not fun. It's not fun to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can still get caught like into some fights where you just don't even you'll go through a whole weapon before the fight's even done.
Yeah.
And might maybe even have enough time for repair powder. But yeah, just having to factor that in is just another kind of annoying thing. Not really fun. Dark Souls 3, they pretty much got rid of it anyways too. Like, item durability is still a slight issue in that game, but pretty much nothing compared to this one, it feels like.
Also something that needs to be talked about is the stats. What's those stats about? Like, why is there... Okay, in Dark Souls 2, the dumbest stat of all time, ADP. What's up with that adaptability?
Not dumb because it's useless, dumb because it's useful.
Yeah,
but you don't know it.
It's like, I can't believe it. Do you guys remember that one time I got invaded by Dinas?
Yeah,
and
I remember.
I was trying to roll through his sword, his stupid spirit greatsword thing, and I just kept getting caught, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then later in the game, I got invaded by Dinas again, and I was dodging through his swords. So easy. Because adaptability adjusts your iframes and your drinking speed and all this stuff, and they don't say anything about that. And I think it was someone had mentioned that having like around 20 or 25 adaptability gives you the same amount of iframes that you had in Dark Souls 1. So it's like you start out with less iframes. It's like...
I start out with like 5 or something adaptability.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So nowhere near it.
Yeah. Is adaptability correlate with like a poise level?
I think it increases poise.
There is another stat, I think, that increases your poise. I think it's tied with stamina. They shuffled a lot of stuff around from Dark Souls 1 while keeping the same names, changing some names, so it gets a little muddled in my head. But I don't think it's adaptability. Maybe a tiny bit. Either way, I also agree. I hated having to pour points into adaptability, but it was interesting to know because I didn't do it the first time I played the game, and I remember that rolling like didn't feel right because the animation of your roll and all that stuff, that doesn't change as you increase your adaptability. So it just doesn't, it feels wrong. Like you're getting hit by stuff you shouldn't get hit by until you put points into the stat, this weird, obtuse stat.
So I had to look it up just to see what raises your poise, and it's apparently a combination of adaptability and endurance. So when you put points into both of the levels at the same time, then it gets you levels of poise, which I found to be probably one of the most useful stats in the game, because if you have enough poise, someone's attack won't interrupt you. So you'll take the hit, but you'll just keep comboing right through whatever damage you took. Only like the heaviest hitting weapons will interrupt your attacks eventually, especially if you wear some armor like Havel's armor, which is just that giant, super heavy armor. Yeah, exactly. Big boy armor.
The mecha armor. You're a robot.
Mecha.
Yeah, and then I would know, like, if an invader came through just wearing full Havels, that it would just be easier to jump off a cliff, because there's no killing them. They're an ultra tank, and they don't stop attacking when you attack them, so you can't interrupt them.
Yeah. Well, I tried to pick guys off from afar with my sorcery, which, I didn't need poise, I didn't think I needed poise, but throughout that game, it seemed as though they were a far cry from Dark Souls 1 sorcery.
Yep.
Everything seemed resistant to sorcery throughout the whole game, or I would have to aim so far away using binoculars, which was just bullshit on so many levels. And I'd just do more damage. I remember that fire longsword you were always talking about, Kiowa.
Yeah.
I remember using that, no upgrades. And, over halfway through the game, that thing was doing more damage than my spells when I had poured all my points into intellect.
Oh, no.
It was insane how unuseful it felt for most of my playtime. I wish I would have invested in poise.
Yeah, some enemies just have crazy resistances to certain things. Like, I remember those lion dudes, just no matter how much lightning damage I threw at them, it wouldn't do anything. They were just so resistant to it.
That whole area was a nightmare for a sorcerer.
Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare.
Can't
I think
lock on
for
to
anyone.
stuff too.
Like big falls, you can just fall through the floor into a awful trap. You can just roll off a cliff, and there's invisible enemies. Well, not invisible. You can translucent. You can see them.
Yeah.
But you can't lock on to them.
Yeah, imagine trying to hit. You can't lock on. Most spells, the only tracking they have, you have to be locked on for. And you have no points invested into your physical stats. It's like bashing your head against the wall, I don't know. It felt pretty stacked against me that whole time. It was a frustrating experience.
Yeah, that's one of the areas that probably encouraged a lot of people to just run through it, because there's no need to really fight those enemies at the end of the day. I mean, you'll probably die a few times running through, especially not knowing where to go. But
talking about the shaded,
this is the
wood ruins.
Shaded woods, shaded ruins.
Yep, with those lion dudes and the cursed jars and the invisible or the translucent enemies.
They look like NPC phantoms too, or the things you'd see if you were online, right?
Yeah, like the other people playing or whatever.
Yep, exactly. I think it plays off of what those sprites look like from online. So for people like me who play online, I see those dudes all the time running around doing stuff. So I think nothing of it when I see some in-game running around with like a crossbow and a knife. But then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm getting backstabbed.
Get stabbed. That's what you get. Shouldn't play online.
You can't tell the difference between the online sprites and then the actual enemies. Just another cheap sucker punch that the game hits you with.
I think that's a cool way to design an enemy.
It is interesting.
Oh, speaking of really weird, crazy enemies, did you ever pull that one lever in Drangleic Castle where you just pull this lever and then you get invaded by a phantom?
Phantom from pulling a lever? Like, I'm sure I probably pulled a lever. Like, why wouldn't you pull a lever?
Every time I got invaded, I just thought it was a scripted thing.
I'm so glad to have not played online, because if those enemy red phantoms were anything to go by, like holy shit, that was obnoxious.
Yeah, it was like even just getting those scripted invasions was annoying enough. Like, should we go on a little rant? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why does what? I can't. That one dude came in that one time and was saying how playing online is the true way to play. It's the real way to play. It's canon. It's in the lore that people invade each other's worlds or something. But it just does. It seems like the whole game is designed around this cool, solitary exploration, loneliness feel to it. I don't. It just doesn't seem right to have that interrupted. I don't know. To me, at least.
That's exactly how I feel about it too. When an NPC even shows up and it just breaks the flow of it.
Yeah.
That sucks me out of the experience. And the Dark Souls 2
Yeah.
Phantoms just didn't even feel like players. They felt like beefed up fake people that were meant to just piss you off.
Yeah, like that one
Yeah.
time I got invaded by Dinas, and I was getting chased by all those turtle sledgehammer guys. And then he came and invaded me, and I was getting shot at by arrow guys, and I couldn't kill the turtle guys fast enough. And it was just like, what is this?
They seem to have like more HP and infinite spell casts, and they can just
Infinite
roll out of a
stamina.
stun lock.
Yeah.
Infinite
Yup.
stamina.
Yep.
What's up with that? Why would they do that? Well, I think we probably already answered that. They just wanted to be a difficult game.
What's that
But
in the lore? I really am curious. How?
I'm sure there is something. I wouldn't
So
think that they were lying or
Yeah.
anything, but I just don't care. It feels more natural to be solo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on that same subject, kind of, there is this for phantoms and why you guys get invaded. Like, there's this lever in that keep that you pull it. If you play online, there's all sorts of signs over it that say, "Don't pull this lever." And literally, there's no reason for you to pull the lever. But if you pull it, you basically just have to deal with this invasion all the time, randomly. This guy named Navlan
Oh, I know
Oh.
what you're talking about now.
will follow
Yeah,
you around.
that's in Aldia's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the castle. Yeah, no, I
Aldia's
did
keep,
not.
sorry,
Those
I said
signs
the
are
wrong
there.
one.
Those signs are there if you're offline.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
there.
really? If
Yeah.
you're offline too? Okay, well, yeah, if you pull that lever, you will constantly get invaded by this one phantom named Navlan, and he'll just track you down. He's very, very powerful and gets stronger each time, I believe, that he fights you.
Whoa.
He just
I'm
keeps
glad I
leveling
didn't
up.
pull it.
Every time you beat him, he just gets stronger, and he'll just become eventually this this dead zone. Like if you see him, there's just no way you can beat him. He's so hard. And he'll
Interesting.
appear anywhere, like if you're on a ledge or at any time. And he'll follow you even into New Game Plus, I think.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So he's like the Pursuer 2.0, but he comes as a phantom,
And an
hostile
optional
phantom.
sort of thing, like almost a trick.
Yes.
The one lever they say don't pull it.
Yeah. That's weird.
I heeded the message. I think he asks you to kill people for him.
Yeah.
And, like NPCs.
That's right. He's in some magical field.
He's my buddy.
He's sealed away in a magical field.
I just fought, all the staples. There's that one with the sword whip. I don't remember their names. Forlorn, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, forlorn, fun fights.
Yeah.
I feel like I fought those red phantoms like 30 times.
Yeah, my weapon is a total. Eventually, I got my Santir spear, and that was just a total phantom killer. So most phantoms that could come up, I could just almost endlessly combo them to death.
Hell yeah.
Some of them were easier than others, but
Yeah.
for sure some of them were so beefy and yeah,
Annoying.
it doesn't need to be.
Come at really bad times too.
What's that, Joker?
Well,
What was
sometimes
that
you
guy?
pass through an area. Oh, yeah, what is that
Jester.
guy's name? That Jester?
It's a Jester.
Something Jester. With all the pyro magic. Fuck that guy. Sometimes you'd go through an area and they wouldn't spawn, and other times you'd go right back through after dying like 2 times or something, and then they'd choose to spawn. I never understood
Even while
the
you're
rules
not,
for that.
even while you're hollowed, they'll still appear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the heck? No avoiding them. There's just no dodging these guys.
There's got to be some mechanic that dictates what makes them spawn. I just don't know what it is. There's a lot of things in the game that aren't explained, and sometimes it works, but things like adaptability and then that shit, big disagree. Explain that.
It scans how much fun you're having, and then they go, "Ooh, having too much fun. Time to damper the mood a little bit." And then they send the guy.
You were having fun in the Iron Keep, and then the Armorer Dennis showed up. Is that why they summoned him?
Was he in? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
At the very beginning after the first bonfire, you cross the bridge and they spawn right there. I remember you fighting them.
Yeah, because I was having fun with Athlus. Athlus, my boy.
Atlas. Well, he's your friend. He is your actual friend.
Yeah, and then yeah, he spawned in and decided to rain on my little parade. And then I said, Dark Souls 2 is good. After that.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like, I don't know. There's some really strange decisions that I all think stem off of the stigma that the first game set by being so hard, and they just wanted to follow suit. I mean, I don't think it's really realistically that much harder than Dark Souls. Like, it seems just more annoying, more of a nuisance than difficult, to me at least. Like, I built my crazy my swords, my huge great swords, and I went through the game, and I think I died like 120 times. I guess it's a good amount of deaths, but it didn't stop me. I didn't lose the game. I didn't stop playing,
That's what Dark Souls is all about.
And that's the thing, is Dark Souls, the original one, just seems like it, I don't know. The atmosphere and vibe is so much different. It didn't seem like it was meant to just be hard. It felt like it was a trek. It felt like it was supposed to be rewarding, you know what I mean? Like, it was, those hard fights weren't made to just be hard. They were made to be something to overcome, like a challenge to overcome. But in this game, it was just like, here's 3 ruin sentinels, and then you fight them and you just feel empty when you win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's I thought this game was more difficult this time around for me than the first game earlier this year, but was that difficulty a fun, like, reasonable challenge, or was it just additional tedium or a nuisance,
Yeah.
I did disagree when we were starting the game that this was just them cashing in on prepare to die and all of that.
Yeah.
But, playing through the whole thing, yeah, I kind of get that now.
I think that's the main thing. Like, I remember just being kind of disappointed in that, and then, like, it just hit me. It just felt, it didn't feel the same. It just didn't have the same atmosphere to it.
And just knowing that it deviates, from all of the lore of the main series, I guess, and it's kind of like for the third game, you go back to the main plot line of Dark Souls.
Yeah, but like when the second game came out, there was no third game, so I mean, it makes the third game could have been in a whole new area too. So it's not like the second game had to be set on Orlando or whatever. You know what I mean?
True.
It felt like a natural extension to me. Omitting the existence of Dark Souls 3, because honestly, I don't remember it well enough to comment. Yeah. But just considering Dark Souls 1 and 2, it felt like they were natural-ish connections, if a bit forced.
Yeah, I think Dark Souls 2. I think it's perfectly fair and good that it's set in its own area, but just the fact that they went in the third game and tied it to the first game kind of it legitimizes like Dark Souls 2 a little bit, makes it even stand out more.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Even though, just the fact that it could have been a totally new setting for the third game would have probably not left Dark Souls 2 in the same situation it's in right now.
Yeah.
Where it's just this like standalone thing. They have commented that they're not going to make any more of these Souls games. So even the plot of this one, we know now will lead nowhere. So it's just like, Yeah, at the time it probably was fine to do, but just when you look at it now being a closed book sort of thing, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it definitely solidifies the black sheep aspect because it's even just left out of its own series. It's like on its own.
Yeah.
There's, it's strange. It's very strange.
It truly is the black sheep of the Dark Souls series.
Yeah, and maybe it deserves it. It deserves it. There we go.
There's a lot of differences.
There were some good bosses. There were some fun people. You got Magula. There's definitely some redeeming values to it. I remember I really liked some of the DLC boss fights.
Oh, the DLC. Mwah.
Like that the Old Iron King.
Yeah.
Wasn't that just such a cool fight and in such a cool setting as well?
I wanted to talk about the DLC because remember earlier when I was talking about the grand vistas of Dark Souls and the lack thereof in Dark Souls 2.
I was gonna bring up the DLC, but I thought it was too early.
Yeah, the DLC, man. I think that the DLC, in pretty much every single way, I think the DLC is like better. It's better than the base game. Like rewarding, the exploration is so much more rewarding. I feel like in Dark Souls 2. In the base game, it's just like it just feels. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like when you're in, for one thing, I did the Old Iron. What was the last one?
Ivory King.
The Ivory King. I did that one first.
King. Yeah.
Oh, that was I think my favorite, the Ivory King.
Yeah, that one was fucking cool.
That boss fight, just looks so cool when you jump down that massive pit and you go from this like frozen over wasteland to this crazy fire pit.
Yeah, and like
the old chaos or something.
Just a total, you're in a boss fight.
Yeah,
when you jump down a massive tunnel like that.
That's probably the most cinematic boss encounter I think in the game. Probably.
Yeah.
Like that was.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there.
Very cool. But just, painting a picture right away when you bonfire because the DLC are separate. You can't just get there in the game world as it exists. You have to teleport into a separate, juncture. And right away you see those like vines of ice sticking out of this. That was such a striking image that I was already like, what the fuck? This is cool.
That looked so cool.
Yeah, and then it shatters open and you're allowed to go inside and you see this just expansive kingdom. And I was like, boom, take 2. I was already getting shivers 2 times in a row. Almost the exact same amount of shivers I got in the base game the whole time. And like you run around, you explore, everything's all iced over, and then you go into the kingdom, into the castle, and then she melts all the ice, and there's more incentive to go back to explore. It's just interesting that there's more rewarding things. You don't just pass over the area once in the Sunken King specifically. Or in the fucking Ivory King. In the Ivory King specifically. You don't just make one passover and you're done like every area, almost every single area in Dark Souls 2. There's like reason to go back. There's things that change because of your actions. And there's like, the more stuff you do, the easier, if you find those knights, it makes the boss fight easier. If you find the eyes, the priestess eyes, you see those invisible enemies. Like there's actually stuff going on in the world, and I think that's true for all of the DLC levels, and like it just seems to totally improve on everything in Dark Souls 2. Like there's nothing. Oh, let me think about the interactivity of the world in Dark Souls 2. Burning the fucking windmill that there's no way to tell that you can burn it down. Like
the most cryptic thing.
The most cryptic puzzle.
Oh my gosh.
And all it affects is just draining the poison in that one area. Like it doesn't do anything in the area below. That's still poison.
It stops some stuff from turning, and it makes the boss fight easier.
Or waiting for the ladder man to show up in Magula.
Yeah. And like I don't know, I just think if there were more things like that in the base game, it could have been a lot more fun.
I do like how the Old Iron King ties in a lot with the main game. Like, it's pretty much like all just an offshoot of the Iron Keep, I guess. Like the old Iron King and everything. You know, all the knights have like the same style of armor and whatnot. And katanas, cool Eastern style weapons.
Yeah.
And there's like in the normal Iron Keep, there's the Smelter Demon, but then in the DLC there is the Blue Smelter Demon,
In
which
Broom
is like,
Tower.
oh my gosh, such a hard fight.
Yeah, it was a good one. Or that
Holy
was
cow.
like,
And you can go off, and once you finish the real boss there, I believe that's the prereq to get to another area. You go into a memory of some like samurai armor or something, and you fight the captain of the Aelon Knights or some guy like that. I wasn't paying too
In
much
Broom
attention
Tower?
to the lore, but in Broom Tower, yeah, there was a separate area, and you would go through. You'd fight a lot more Aelon Knights that were sniping at you, some fire salamanders, and there's like a samurai guy at the end.
whoa.
Yep, that's the big boss fight, right? He has a really crazy weapon too.
He's got a
sword is-
katana, and he like impales you, and empowers his attacks. This is like an optional fight that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was connected, very contained within the Dark Souls 2 world, which I agree was very cool.
Like I have to imagine that the Smelter Demons are the ones like helping them make their swords and stuff and armor. And that's why they have one in both of their areas, both of their big zones.
Mm-hmm.
And even the Smelter Demon's moves, like makes his sword extra like molten during the fight.
Yeah, he impales himself with it, or puts it into that molten core of his.
But yeah, like each of the DLC, like the second DLC, or no, it was the first one, was that city.
Poison
City.
Pyramid Fiesta.
Yeah. Shulva, Sanctum City.
Poison Zone.
Yeah, the Crown of the Sunken King DLC featuring Shulva, Sanctum City. That one had so many like interactable things in the level, like things you can hit and change things in, like you can raise platforms and lower platforms and open doors and like hit little switches and stuff. It's kind of weird that that's in the DLC, and I don't think there's anything like that in the base game. Like I wasn't even looking for any of that stuff when I'd played the DLC, because it was never a mechanic in the base game. But it makes me wonder, it just seemed, I don't know, the DLC to me was just, it was much better. It just was more focused, more honed in, and it just seemed like it was stunning. Like all the areas were actually really cool. I was into the visuals element of them. The boss fights were cool, and just the exploration was just so much more rewarding than anything in the base game.
Yeah. And another weird thing about those DLCs, so I think the base game Dark Souls 2 came out, right? And then all of the DLCs came out for Dark Souls 2. Then they came out later with Dark Souls Scholar of the First Sin, which was just like a big package deal of all of the games together. The Dark Souls 2 and the DLC, as well as content with exclusive to Scholar of the First Sin. Which is interesting that no other Dark Souls game had kind of like a secondary version of its own self released.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what all the differences are.
Well,
though I believe the Aldia was actually added to the vanilla game just later in a late patch.
Oh, really? Well, that's another interesting explanation.
But either way, I never saw it when I played the original game, so when you meet him the first time,
Jump scare.
it kind of surprised me.
Yep, me too. I was just playing through. I'm just like, I'm playing through Dark Souls 2 again. Here we go.
He said that out loud.
It's
And
time
all
to
of a
play
sudden
Dark
I'm
Souls
jumping
2.
out of my seat when Aldia explodes in front of me.
Yeah. Knowing how Dark Souls 2 works, I thought it was some kind of silly trap, an exploding bonfire to kill me in one hit. I thought like there was some other like, oh, Dark Souls, anything to get a free kill,
A bonfire mimic. Now that would be terrifying.
Oh my god! Don't give them ideas.
Bomb fire
A bonfire.
is what that would be called, and they'd blow you up dead instantly.
The Emerald Priestess, when you get back to the far fire from there, she's just like, "Oh, you got hit with a bomb fire."
Yeah, you have to be.
Be
You
careful
gotta hit all
about that
those.
ashen one.
Time to hit bonfires from here on out. And just add another thing to test.
I really detest that idea of secrets running around. There's so many bonfires throughout the game that are hidden behind like elaborate secrets and like hidden walls that they've just decided to change for some reason to, oh, you don't hit them anymore. So there's no way you'll find them by mistake in combat. You have to interact with a wall, and
Yep.
very, very, very few of them have any sort of tell. It's just kind of a spot on a wall somewhere.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it. There's a lot of bonfires. Felt like there were a lot of bonfires in the game.
There are a lot.
Yeah, like sometimes you would get a bonfire, just go around, enter another area, and there would just be a bonfire right there.
Yeah.
And then you go just to, like Gates of Pharos. There's just so many
Yeah.
bonfires, like back to back to back.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's the finger system.
The fingers.
I mean, I
They
guess
did
I want
that.
to call it the hand. I want to call it the hand world design.
So they did that. They added all these bonfires, but then they make you go back to the Emerald Herald every time to level up anyway.
Yeah.
I don't get that, and that was really irritating. Bearer, seek lest.
Yeah. Bear seek lust. Yep. It took me a while to understand what that meant when you guys were spamming it in the chat. But boy, when it hit me hard. It was really funny. But it's interesting in Dark Souls 1 that you can't teleport between bonfires for like the first half of the game, you know? And it makes sense because Dark Souls 1, you didn't have the leveling up at a specific person. At a specific location, you just level up whenever at a bonfire, right?
Yep.
And guess what they had they had the different level design in Dark Souls 1, where it wasn't the hand level design. You had a closed fist level design. Okay, holy shit. This is it. Okay. I'm trademarking this. Open palm level design, Dark Souls 2. Okay? It's called open level design of the open palm. Okay?
Style of the
Wow.
open palm.
Style of the open palm. Your fingers extended. You're in a hub, central. That's your palm. Fingers extended are the various stages. Boom, closed fist style. Fingers interlocked, intertwined with one another. Everything is tightly packed, densely packed in. There's all these little nooks and crannies to slither into to explore. That's the closed fist level design.
Just imagine that you're slithering in between someone's fingers in a closed fist.
Yeah, like that one area, the Valley of Drakes, that leads down
Oh,
into
yeah.
there's that path from the Undead Burg into the Valley of Drakes into the back door. Is it the back door of the fucked up zone, whatever that place is called?
It leads to the lower part of the burg where it was drowned, and then it also leads to the old area filled with ghosts. I can't remember the names right now.
Yeah. So like
that's a very
boom,
centralized area.
It's a centralized area. That's your little fingers interlocked. Closed fist, open palm. Those are mine. You can't use that anymore. That's mine.
That's perfect. We can use those to define level design for the rest of our podcast.
Yep. That's a Midnight Festival exclusive.
Another classic written down in history.
Midfest classic. I'm trying to think of some other shit. Like the story, the lore. Can't really comment on any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable diving. I didn't bother.
Yeah, I did not do research. I did not see. I'm guessing that the Scholar of this First Sin has a lot of stuff tying into the previous, the main plot line of Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point I remember Aldia shouts something about Gwyn.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Just like, yeah, like I think it's even after you beat them in a fight.
That's interesting.
And then, yeah, they scream something about Gwyn and creation. But it's very, I guess I didn't read the item description on it.
Yeah. You gotta do that.
I mean, you've got Ornstein in the game. You've got Solaire's crumbled statue, I believe, somewhere. I mean, there's some pretty distinct ties.
Yeah.
Throwbacks. Lots of the four old ones,
Mm-hmm.
four great ones. What are they called? Whatever.
The four ones.
The four
ones.
The big boys. The four big ones. It's, yeah, I don't know. There's some things that I thought were really interesting in the game that I wish were expounded on more, like the war with the giants. When you were going into the memories, very briefly, you went into the memories and you got to see these crazy, it seemed like just crazy battles going on with, like, ballista being fired and
oh yeah,
and trebuchets being launched and stuff like that, burning cannonballs flying around. It just seemed like this really cool, dynamic set piece. Even though it was reusing like the exact same area that you were, that same castle. Mm-hmm. It just felt like, I just wish that there were more going on in each of these, and just in the base game. I guess that's my biggest complaint, I guess. I don't know. It just felt like, there's so many areas that were just blah. I just, can't.
Yeah, or just painful to go through.
Yeah.
Just plain
annoying.
Uninviting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the DLC I really enjoyed. I agree with the base game being a little bit lacking. But
DLC, just play DLC. Just if you're gonna play Dark Souls 2, just play the DLC and you'll get everything you want.
It sucks because there's a lot of cool items and stuff too in the DLC and spells, and by the time I got there, I'm like, I'm done with the game, man. I can't play with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to. I'm done with this game, but look at all this cool shit they added.
Right.
Time for New Game Plus 9.
I've always heard New Game Plus in Dark Souls 2 specifically is good, is better in general than what they had done in the other games. And if you use those bonfire ascetics, those are cool in letting you reset an area, kind of enhance everything to the next cycle of New Game Plus. You can farm bosses, get some unique stuff that way. That's all cool. And if that's any indication of what it's like, and this was one of your games that you dedicated a lot of time to, it seems interesting.
Yeah, I think that's, all this smack we're talking about Dark Souls 2, there's still some really cool elements. I thought that bonfire thing, that bonfire aesthetic was like a really cool mechanic that they allowed you to utilize.
Yes. Sometimes you pretty much had to use it to get a weapon set that you could actually power stance. Like the power stance would be hidden, like with the bone fists again. Like you need 2 bone fists to power stance.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's in Dark Souls 3, right? There's nothing like that.
No. Well, okay, there is a demon fist in Dark Souls 3. Yeah,
no, I mean
it's not
the bonfire ascetics.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't believe there's anything like that, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
It had some cool ideas.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique thing, interesting for farming and, resetting levels and stuff like that, but...
I mean, what's everyone sum up your thoughts on the game, I guess, right? Like, all I have is tiny little stuff, and it's not even worth bringing up. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think those are the main things, right?
Pretty much, yeah. We tackled a lot of the main issues, I guess, if I had to say. I liked the game. I had fond memories of it. It played really well when it came out. And,
Ooh. Kiowa.
Yeah. Oh.
Reveal. This used to be...
Oh.
This used to be...
Oh, yeah. I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, this one, I played Dark Souls 2, I played Dark Souls 3, I never played Dark Souls 1, and just like looking at them side by side, I guess the memories I had of playing Dark Souls 2 made me like Dark Souls 2 more than Dark Souls 3 for a good while. Until I ended up like replaying both of the games individually. I kind of now looking at them side by side, I clearly Dark Souls 3 is the superior game.
In your opinion, though?
What was that?
Maybe that's what you feel, or you're saying that as like a mechanical thing?
No,
Do you
I guess
like Dark Souls 3 more?
I like Dark Souls 3 more now.
Okay.
So yeah, I did used to really enjoy Dark Souls 2 more. A lot of it was just tied to that Santir spear, and it just had, my favorite weapon in the whole series, and yeah, just having fond memories of the game in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that kind of colored my opinion of it. But yeah, revisiting them put me in a different mindset.
Right. If I had to sum my opinion up of Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin.
Softs.
Softs. I like that. Softs.
Sots.
It's kind of hard to sum my... Cole, you go first. Well, wait.
I think
Kiowa... Okay. Kiowa, did you...
Okay.
I kind of spurred you on to, Did you have anything else? Any other
no.
definitive?
Yeah, no. Nothing really definitive. It's a fun game. I got fond memories of it, and it's a good play at the end of the day. And if you really want to just complete all of the Dark Souls omnibus, you're going to have to visit Dark Souls 2 at some point. Yeah, definitely check it out if you're a fan of the Souls series. Otherwise, if you want just the freshest, nicest, even most visually compelling version of the game, just skip right to Dark Souls 3. But otherwise, yeah, Dark Souls 2 is still pretty fun. You can still have some good time. The DLC is awesome.
Yeah.
I agree.
Play it for the DLC.
I don't know how strong you have to be, even as over-leveled as I felt like I was. That DLC wasn't treating my build too kindly, and maybe I should have just changed it, but I was dead set on experiencing the game in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a lot of the game was trying to frustrate me, but I agree. It seemed like they kind of hit the right notes with that DLC. And aside from that, I couldn't say I'd revisit this game, even though I had a decent amount of time. I would go back to Dark Souls 1 again, but I didn't enjoy Dark Souls 2 enough to say the same about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to sum my thoughts up, I could looking back, I'd never beat it to completion before until now, and I can definitely understand why it's the black sheep, and it was frustrating and a little annoying, and yeah, I don't think I'd ever replay it either, but I really do think that DLC was probably the highlight of my experience in Dark Souls 2 especially, but maybe even over some of the stuff in 1 too. Like I really loved the Ivory King specifically. Was so cool in my opinion, but
yeah, I really like the Ivory King as well.
I wish it weren't the black sheep, and I wish I did have fun. I remember thinking like, I hate how stupid like the difficulty, like the inflated fake synthetic difficulty can be. But I still had a good time playing it. But
they were doing some experimental stuff, and maybe that's the only reason we got the other games that we got from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose that'll sum up the Dark Souls 2 chat. We all played
got nothing
it.
More.
We all played it. We're all, someday we'll play Dark Souls 3. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to Dark Souls 3. I'm going to Sekiro.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to visit all the Souls games at some point.
That was my goal.
But yeah, I mean, maybe we'll follow up on. I don't know if it's even worth. The talking about Dark Souls is like singing to a choir. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Dark Souls is the Dark Souls of video games. Everyone knows Dark Souls.
That's a great point.
Everyone fucking knows it. All this stuff we're saying has been said a billion, trillion times. Like there's no point to even do this, but we just thought, hey, might as well just chat about it. It'd be fun.
Thanks for tuning into our pointless rehash of the same information.
Yeah.
That everyone else already knew.
Yep. And we just thought, what's a conversation between bros about a game? And we just thought we'd chat about it. And if you liked, if you were enjoying it, if you listened to it and you thought it was cool, I mean, great. If you listened to it and turned it off, that's good too. I don't care. But if you listen to it and
they're
are
not
mad,
probably hearing this then.
yeah, that's true. Hopefully no one's mad. I just hope, no one got mad. That's all. But because you can't step on,
bro.
You can't step on anybody who, you can't step on toes.
Especially from the Dark Souls 2 community.
Yeah, Dark Souls 2, 2 O's. Yeah, so...
Is that your other game progression? You got your open palm,
no,
closed fists,
that's
and toes?
just a throwaway. I don't like...
Okay.
I'm not committed to that one. I just threw it out there, didn't stick. I think
Alright,
I
cool.
seriously think open palm, closed fist is pretty good. I'm into that.
I'm into like the whole, linear, non-linear, that sort of stuff, but more power to you for your thing.
Linear, non-linear can be so many things.
Yeah,
Sure,
those are
yeah.
kind of
I'm
just
not going to list
blanket
off all the
terms.
different...
Uh-huh. But open, it's just a lot more visual. I think it's good. I think it's so good.
Yeah, more power to you, dude. Nothing against you, bro.
Get ready. Get ready.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be
Yep,
using
go get
it
your
from here
trademark.
on out.
It'll be a staple of the MIDFES podcast.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All right. Well, with that, I suppose we'll wrap it up.
Maybe we'll have another fireside chat about some other game sometime if we just happen to be playing the same thing, because that's just kind of what spurred this on, really.
Yeah. And,
Oh yeah.
we're talking about some format things going on. In the mid, there's a lot of stuff going on under the hood here at MIDFEST. We're working on stuff behind the scenes, and we're trying to work out a good flow. But for sure, we'll be having some good content. We'll be putting out some great content for all of our listener.
For all of our listener.
Yeah. All right. And with that, I suppose we'll wrap this episode up. Thank you very much for listening to our Dark Souls 2 amble. We appreciate your listens. We appreciate you specifically. And we love you very much. And we hope you have a happy midnight.
Happy midnight.
midnight.